Yep.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the regular meeting of November 14th, 2017 of Newman City Council to order. Would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance of the flag and remain standing for the invocation. Ready to begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Albert Einstein once said, "Strive not to be a success, but rather to be of value." Let's pray. Most gracious Father, we thank you for the opportunity to serve our community. We pray your blessings on this meeting and in this council. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Mary. Could we have roll call, please?
Councilor McDonald?
Here.
Graham?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Candia?
Here.
Day?
Here.
Mayor Martina?
Here. Declaration of conflict of interest?
None.
There being none tonight. And we'll move on to ceremonial matters. Tonight, recognition of Corporal Williams, receipt of the California Highway Patrol 10851 award pin. And our chief will make the presentation tonight.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. Having Corporal Williams step up here so I can tell you a little bit about this award. So this is the first time in 19 years that I've been with the police department that anybody from our department has received this award. This award is not easy to come by. The criteria for this award are you have to recover at least 12 stolen vehicles and 3 of them have to be occupied, meaning you have an arrest out of them. So Corporal Williams received a letter from the Central Division Chief of the Central California Highway Patrol. And in that letter, it goes through what her accomplishments were. In between January 2016 and July 2016, so the numbers I told you about were within a year, she did this within 6 months. She recovered 4 stolen vehicles that led to 5 arrests that were occupied, and she recovered an additional 15 unoccupied stolen vehicles. So it's great work on her behalf. Super proud of her. I think her time spent with Stanislaus County Auto Theft Task Force, StanCat, did a great service to our community. Since then, she has recovered a few stolen vehicles. We've lost a couple, but we're not going to talk about that right now. We lost one the other night, so actually I lost one the other night. So, thank you for everything you do, and I know you've been waiting for this. I didn't tell you what it was, but it finally came in, so here's your award, and more importantly, here's your pin you get to wear in your uniform every day.
I don't know why, but ever since I knew about this pin, that's all I've ever wanted. I've been obsessed with it. So I'm not opposed to getting another one. Thank you very much to Chief Richardson and Lieutenant Short and the City of Newman for allowing me to go to StanCat. It was great. It was a great learning opportunity. Thank you to all of them, Larry Chambers, Tony Dominguez, and all the guys from StanCat. I won't blow their cover. There's a lot of them that are still there. But I was there for 3 months, and every single day that I was there, from day one, they knew how long I'd be there, and they were always willing to teach me something new. It didn't matter how long I was going to be there. And I'd say it's been pretty beneficial, either learning and being able to teach others what I learned there, or needing any kind of contact. If I needed anything, I've been able to call them several times, and they've been able to help me out with whatever I needed. So I'm appreciative. Thank you very much. And, yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to take a little break, apparently.
Yes, we're going to relax everyone, a little break.
Oh.
Actually, it can be longer.
No. Apparently we're not going.
Corporal Williams, I have a question for you. You did it in 6 months. So
What's the secret?
how'd you do it? What's the secret?
I can't give up all my secrets. I'll start losing them.
She'll tell you, but she has to kill you.
No, it's, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. There's just stuff that I look for, and I get lucky, I think, sometimes, but that's
I
okay.
don't think it's luck.
Yeah.
I think it's
Skill.
a big
Hard
effort
work.
on your part.
Yeah.
I have a story. Okay. I'm not going to let it. About a month ago, she found a stolen car here in town, and it led to a pursuit, and it got away from her, and I was part of that too. So the other night I was talking trash as any good chief would do, and sent a message to dispatch, hey, tell her to find another one. I'm actually out here working tonight. I won't let it get away. And I'm not kidding, within 15 minutes, she found a stolen car that later got occupied and led us on a 62-minute pursuit, but they got away. That was my fault. So don't let her fool you. She knows what she's doing.
Very
Well,
good.
thank you very much.
Very good.
Okay, well, if anyone would like to stay, you're welcome to stay. If anyone would like to walk out that door, you're more than happy.
There they go.
The last chance.
Right.
It's not-
Thank you all for being here.
Thanks. It was a great occasion. Okay, with that, we'll continue. Next item is, excuse me, is items from the public's non-agenda items. So anyone would like to speak to the council, now is the opportunity. We'd like to hold it to 3 minutes unless the council would like to give you more time. And if you would state your name and address for the record.
Mayor Martina, council members, Paul Wallace, 722 Mount Rushmore. I'm one of the trustees of the Newman-Crows Landing Unified School District, and Councilmember McDonald was pleasant enough to come join our meeting and speak at public session and saying he'd like to work together. And frankly, that's why I ran for school board. I was working at the Planning Commission when we had a really bad relationship with the school district. And I said, come on, this has got to be able to be better than that, and it's something that I'd like to work towards. I'd like to see us get together, once a year, every couple of years, kind of have a standing agenda. It would be nice for us to tell you what we're up to. It'd be nice to you guys to tell us what you're up to. What you do in planning affects the schools hugely. What we do in planning affects you guys hugely, since we can, as best I remember, we can review our own planning documents. And that's caused some real problems in the past, so I would really like to see a more cooperative relationship. There's a lot, we serve the same constituents for the most part, and so I hope that maybe somehow we can get something put together. I know up in Patterson, I think a couple of times a year, the school board and the council meet together. It'd be nice to have some ongoing dialogue, and hopefully we can work together for the good of everybody. And thank you very much for the opportunity to speak.
Well, let me say this, is that we do meet on the 2-on-2, and it's very, very productive. And we're finding that we have more in common than we realize. So that's a great start, and we're finding, as we, meeting, we're finding more things that we can, actually agree upon. So thanks for coming.
Yeah, Paul, we appreciate you coming out on a night that you could be staying home and relaxing. But anyway, no, it's great. Any time we can develop good relationship between the school and the city is a wonderful thing. So
Yeah.
we always encourage it. I know that I talked to Randy, and he said that they're going to open their new office shortly, and I'm sure that we'll probably get a tour of it, and which would be awful nice. Those kind of things make a difference. They do. Anyway, but thank you very much. And with that, anyone else would like to speak to the council?
Good evening, Mayor and council members. I'm on the school board with Mr. Wallace, and my name is Rosalie Hurst, and I live at 1447 Q Street here in Newman. And just a couple hours ago, We had the 2+2 meeting, and we did get a tour of the district office. That's where we met this time. So they got to see how nice it is. And we got to talk about plans that we have coming up. And so we're working very hard on this 2+2 relationship with the city. So just wanted to clarify that we did just have a meeting with Councilmember Casey and McDonald and Mr. Holland. Okay, so thank you.
Thank you, Rosie. Thank you very much. And anyone else? Oh, here's a man that got to have a big smile on his face.
Actually, his name was brought up at 2-on-2.
Oh, good. I hope that's good. Yeah, Tom Capps, the branch manager from Newman Library, mayor, council members, city staff. Thank you for having me this evening. Just to bring up, thank you from the community support, whether you voted for or against Measure S, I don't care. Thank you for coming out and voting for it and showing your support and just be able to do our duty by having an election and voting. I'm just grateful for that opportunity and just want to thank the public for that support. And then for the support from the city, kind words and people in the community of Newman that have supported Measure S. I just want to say a thank you. We will continue to stay open. With that, we're going to have some fun this week. This Saturday we're going to make slime, pumpkin slime for the Thanksgiving, so I thought I'd mention that. And that's the 18th at 1:30. And we're going to continue story time for the end of the month on Wednesdays at 10 o'clock. And December, we're going to take it off for vacation. People are busy, so we're going to take December off, and we'll be back January with story time. And then something new is that we're going to have a 3D printer in the Modesto library, something that technology, we're keeping up with it, and this was provided by the Sierra Health Foundation, and we've been working at setting it up, getting the software and hardware to work properly, but now it's going to be up and running for the public to use. So I thought I'd bring that good news along with the thanks from Measure S. Good. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
Anyone else out there would like to speak to us? Okay, with that, we'll move on to item 8, which is the consent calendar. A is waive all readings of ordinance and resolution except by title. B, approval of warrants. C, approval of minutes of the October 24th, 2017 meeting. D, adopt resolution number 2017 next number, a resolution authorizing the city manager to sign and submit funding agreement and any amendments thereto for funding under the Safe Drinking Water Bond Law SDWBL program, and authorizing the city manager or designee to approve requests for partial payment, claims for reimbursement, sign the budget and expenditures summary, and sign the certification of project completion. E, adopt resolution number 2017 next number, a resolution updating the master fee fine schedule.
Move that we adopt the consent calendar as read.
And I'll second that.
Okay, a motion's been made and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried by. Thank you very much. Next item is the public hearing. Presentation of Northwest Newman Master Plan and accompanying environmental impact report.
Thank you, Mayor. So this is a project that's a long time in the making. So in your package, we attached the Northwest Newman Master Plan, the EAR, and also the Planning Commission report that went along with it. The Planning Commission reviewed this project in October. There were several comments that were received during the public hearing portion of that. Some of the concerns were included an increase in traffic, some flood and floodplain issues that occur out there, and then there was also some property owners who had some concerns about their ability to continue to receive water deliveries from CCID, which is Central California Irrigation District. After hearing all those, the commission voted 2-1 in favor of recommending the council certify the EAR and approve the master plan and related general plan amendment, annexation, and pre-zone. However, only 3 planning commissioners were in attendance, and it required all three to get a positive recommendation to the council. So therefore, this item is coming to you tonight without a recommendation from the Planning Commission. There's a lot of information in these documents. So what we're doing tonight is we're just going to have a presentation. First, Mr. Jerry Hague is going to come out and he's going to give you a presentation of the master plan document itself. And then Rebecca All to come up, and she's our environmental consultant, and she's going to walk you through the EIR process and some of the impacts that are on that. After that, if you don't have any questions for myself or the consultants, we'll ask you to open the public hearing and allow the public to speak on this. At the conclusion of all those comments, we're going to ask that you just continue the public hearing to a date certain, which is December 12th, and that'll be at your next meeting. We'll again take public comment and then at that particular time after that second public hearing, we'll open it up and we'll have it agendized for potential action. It doesn't require you to take action at that particular time, but if you're comfortable at that particular time, you can take action in December. So with that, I'm gonna go over the first couple of slides and give you a little background, and then Jerry will go over the document. Good. Oh. Okay. So I just want to give you an overview of where this is at. So as you can see, we got Highway 33 is kind of the eastern boundary. This is Stewart Road up here to the top. This side on this side, the western boundary is the CCID main canal, and then this is Jensen Road and its extension. And then the project ties in and is adjacent to the high school site, which is also down here is Monte Vista Manor, and then comes all the way down here in the front part as well. The properties that are outlined in the orange are non-residential properties, so these will be our commercial, business park and professional office uses, and we'll get into which are which later. And then the stuff that's outlined in the yellow will be our residential type uses with our parks and our school site as well. So in April 2007, the city adopted the Newman 2030 General Plan. As part of that, the city included a policy that states the city shall, through the use of master plans, ensure the growth and development occur in an orderly and contiguous manner. To implement the policy, the sphere of influence is broken into 10 distinct sub-areas. And what it does is it requires that those sub-areas are master planned to be developed for them. The idea is to build neighborhoods and not just subdivisions. When we went to the public, they said they wanted a comprehensive planning process and not just a piecemeal project by project, but to look at a whole area as if it's a neighborhood. And so that was something that came out of the public workshops and then ultimately was incorporated into the general plan. So our general plan looks like this. There's 10 different boundaries on there. The one we're looking at tonight for the master plan area is Area 3. The R stands for residential, and the /BP means there's also business park as part of that as well. So all the area that's outlined here is what the master plan entails in terms of laying out how that's going to develop. In September of 12, the council voted to go ahead and fund the development of the master plan as well as the EIR. In 14, we took a little break because there were some changes at LAFCO, and so the city council put a measure on the ballot, and that was the urban growth boundary. It passed by over 70% of the people approved the urban growth boundary, and that urban growth boundaries is essentially our sphere of influence, and it says we're not going to go outside of that for 50 years. And then lastly, the city, when the council approved this going forward in 12, it was always with the thought that we would be reimbursed through the Specific Plan Act from developers and property owners as they develop their property. If you don't develop your property, then there's no cost to you at some point in time. If that property develops, then they would reimburse their fair share. And so with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Jerry, and he's going to kind of walk you through the master plan a little bit.
Thank you, Michael. My name is Jerry Hague. I'm a planner in Berkeley, California, and have had the pleasure to work with your staff for the last 2 to 3 years to develop the master plan. And I think we have a good one. On the screen is some of the additional purposes of doing the plan, in addition, of course, to the requirement that it has to be done per your general plan. We decided to take it a step further, and we think it will provide a logical and orderly extension of your city boundaries, and as Michael said, in a comprehensive fashion. We're looking to develop high-quality neighborhoods with ample amenities, as well as commercial and employment opportunities in Newman. The master plan provides for the extension of services and infrastructure in concert with their need, rather than kind of being out of sync, so they will be developed together. And lastly, it requires a financing plan and a phasing agreement, as well as a development agreement to move forward. So there's still some work left to be done. The heart of the master plan is the land use plan, which is, I believe, Stephanie, there it is. That's the land use plan. As Michael said, the properties to the east are non-residential. There's business park, community commercial, and office. Generally, these properties are not suitable for residences because of the noise, traffic, and other considerations. So residential uses would occur to the west. Properties west of Fig Lane will be, I mentioned that. Residential densities would vary because it's a fairly large area. Properties to the very west are very low density and would have lot sizes of approximately 10,000 square feet, which is a quarter of an acre, pretty good sized lot. Most of the residential land will be devoted to PMR, planned residential, which would allow a variety of residential densities to allow developers to kind of pick and choose, allow some innovation in product type to meet the current market when they develop their product. At full build-out, which will occur over several years, the plan would accommodate about 1,350 dwellings at various densities. I failed to mention there's a small pocket of high-density apartment property in there as well for people wishing to develop apartments. There will be 1.2 million square feet of employment uses, equating to about 2,000 jobs, and 45 acres of park and recreational uses. We also have a school planned in the middle of the master plan area. At Michael's suggestion, the plan includes design standards for each of the development types, dealing with how the buildings look, how they function, and type of architecture. So we've tried to be fairly specific without over-developing or over-planning the area to allow, again, some diversity and innovativeness among the future developers. One other key thing is the circulation plan. The proposed roadway plan is shown, Stephanie points it on that exhibit on the screen. The plan is to have future roads that would tie into existing roads in the community, Fig Lane, Hardin Road, Harvey Lane, and Jensen Road. And then streets to the north would generally be in a grid system mimicking what's in the existing community of Newman. So it would be a continuation of what's seen on the ground today. There are also provisions for pedestrian, bicycle transit, and public transit opportunities within the planning area. Michael made it very clear that this area would have ample amenities to attract families and other people into the community. So we're calling for 4 park sites ranging from 7.5 to 10 acres. And they will be evenly distributed throughout the planning area, so houses would each be fairly close to a park. One park on the westernmost side of the site would be 10 acres that would be developed for a sports park for the community. There's also a dual basin park on the north side of Jensen Road that could serve as a stormwater retention basin in the winter months and a park during the dry periods. There's also one school site, 10 acres, that we developed in conjunction with, in cooperation with the school district. So we reached out to them and sought their input as well. Key thing is going to be infrastructure. Nothing is going to be developed until there's water, sewer, drainage facilities in the area. So the master plan makes provisions for those, for the overall backbone major utilities. Water would be supplied by the existing city's water department. A new water well is planned to be drilled in the area. Wastewater lines will be built to connect to the existing wastewater plant on Hills Ferry Road. And drainage facilities would be required to minimize future flooding on the site. In terms of financing and phasing, the overriding concept is that development shall pay its own way, will not be subsidized by existing City of Newman residents. The city will work with the development community to come up with a financing plan based upon what their needs and what best suits the neighborhoods. It will address backbone, water, sewer, drainage, schools, parks, and other basic community facilities and services. Phasing plan will also be developed to make sure that phasing occurs in a logical fashion. For whatever the plan comes up with, we don't know at this point how it's going to be built. And then we're not done yet. There's next steps to be taken. As Michael mentioned, this item will hopefully be continued to the December 12th City Council meeting for further consideration. We're reaching out to property owners who have in the past voiced concern about water provision and maintaining their agricultural operations on their site. Property also needs to be annexed into the City of Newman, so city staff is working with LAFCO on a property tax sharing agreement, which is required, as well as other annexation issues. More next steps: need to file a notice of determination once the EIR is certified. Modification and amendments to the general plan are needed to make sure the plan is implemented properly. There will need to be pre-zoning, so when the property is annexed, it will be zoned appropriately, consistent with the master plan and general plan. And of course, the phasing and financing plans will need to be done, and a development agreement would need to be negotiated between one or more property owners and the city. So that ends my presentation, and if you have questions, I'll turn it over to Michael or Stephanie.
So that was a high-level overview of the master plan. There's a lot more detail in the document, but we didn't want to get into the minutia at this particular point in time. Next up, we're going to have Rebecca come up, and she's going to talk a little bit about the EIR. You've been provided with the draft EIR and the final EIR that goes along with that, so she's going to walk you through that process.
Hi, my name is Rebecca Auld with Lanfair Gregory, the primary report preparers for the environmental document. In this case, it was an environmental impact report, or EIR. I'm going to talk really briefly about the purpose of an EIR, the process, and our conclusions. I won't take up too much of your time tonight, but I did want to give you a brief overview. So an EIR is a disclosure document. Its purpose is to allow agencies to take action on a project with knowledge of what the environmental impacts could be from the project. So in the EIR, we identify the environmental impacts. We determine what mitigation measures could be implemented that might reduce or avoid those impacts, or alternatives to the project where we could change some things that, again, might reduce or avoid impacts of the project. And only following certification of the EIR as complete and accurate can the city then take action on the plan itself. So the impact assessment. As a big master plan area, we did take a look at all topic areas under CEQA, all environmental topics. We reviewed them against relevant plans, policies, regulations, and various different topic areas. We did surveys and modeling of noise and traffic. We did emissions modeling for air toxins and greenhouse gases. We had biologists go out and do a survey and assessment of the area. Cultural and historic assessment, and then technical review of reports and plans such as geology, hydrology, hazardous materials, utilities. So then our conclusions. There were some significant impacts that we identified in this process that had already been identified in the general plan. So the general plan had acknowledged that these areas might develop as large master plan areas. And these previously identified impacts included the conversion of agricultural land. So it is identified as a significant impact. Land will be converted from agricultural use. However, that had been previously identified and accepted as part of the general plan, and it is consistent now with county policies due to the urban growth boundary that it's been implemented. There's also increases in the noise related to traffic in the area. And again, this was acknowledged as part of the general plan. As the area developed, your traffic noise is going to go up. So some impacts that had not been previously acknowledged in the general plan or are slightly different than what the general plan looked at. That includes construction noise and emissions. Because it's a relatively large area, this master plan area, there could be prolonged construction that could affect certain residences, either ones that are there now or ones that will go there in the future. And while it's temporary, it might span years, so it's identified as a significant impact. Operationally, you're going to have more people there driving and operating their homes. That will create emissions. So those emissions, air quality and greenhouse gas, are identified as a significant impact. And traffic, of course, folks will drive, and they'll be added to the system. I'm going to talk a little bit more in a moment about the specifics of those traffic impacts, so I'm going to skip over it here. Then we had some impacts that we identified through the process, but that we were able to successfully mitigate below a level that's considered significant. Some of these are construction related, such as disturbance of nesting birds, hawks, burrowing owls during the construction period, discovery of cultural resources that could be in the area during construction or disturbance of the ground, erosion during construction, if there's any older structures that might contain things such as lead-based paint or soils that have agricultural hazards in them, we would address those for the construction period, and hydrology, the siltation for water and erosion related again. And some of the impacts are operational. So once construction is done, there'll be more people there, and that has the potential to create impacts. This includes, again, hazardous materials. Some of the old structures will remain and could have things such as lead-based paint. And then there'll also be businesses that use things such as cleaners, and even gasoline is considered a hazardous material. So we've included mitigation for those sorts of things. Hydrology, we've included mitigation to address greater use of groundwater as well as more impervious area, so less water that would filter through. And those are addressed through things such as having detention basins and appropriate runoff-related systems. Noise, so operational compatibility. This is, we're going to put residences near some roadways such as Stir Road that will be relatively high volume, so that just makes sure that those, when their specific projects come through, that those are planned appropriately so that they address the ambient noise in the area. And then utilities, there's going to be more demand for utilities out there, and particularly wastewater. Projects as they come through will need to demonstrate that planned improvements to the wastewater system have taken place so that they are within the capacity available. Now traffic, let's get back to traffic. So these circles show intersections where we've identified an impact, but also identified mitigation that could improve those intersections. Mostly it's along State Route 33. And this rectangle then shows a segment of the roadway that would additionally be impacted by traffic from the plan area. But again, we've identified mitigation. So unfortunately, not all the mitigation is successful in fully mitigating or fully improving those intersections or roadways. And this map shows one intersection and two roadway segments that even with feasible mitigation would not be operating at levels that are considered good levels or acceptable levels. A lot of these impacts have to do with cumulative increases in traffic as well as increases in the plan area itself. So one of the other things that we did in the environmental document is take a look at alternatives. Could we change anything about the plan to reduce the impacts that we've identified? And the first one is required under environmental review, and that's the no project alternative. So what happens if we don't do anything there? And we assumed that it would stay generally how it is. So there wouldn't be any impacts from the project, but also it wouldn't meet any of the objectives. It wouldn't plan for a new community in that area. So the other two alternatives we looked at, we focused on reducing traffic impacts. And the way to do that, those three impacts that you saw, two roadway segments in an intersection, we would need to reduce traffic by about half of what we had identified coming from the plan area. And we did that in two ways. One was reduced intensity. So we looked at less commercial area and more lower density residential, still filling out that master plan area, but at a intensity that would create about half the amount of traffic that the actual plan would create. And it would manage to reduce some of the traffic impacts from a plan level. So if only the plan developed, then we would not see those significant impacts. However, we would still see those impacts if cumulative development happened in the area, even if this plan only developed at half the intensity. So it has limited ability to affect that. And it would meet to a lesser degree the objectives of the plan. So you wouldn't get as diverse of a community. You wouldn't have the higher density residential, and you wouldn't have as much commercial. And then the third alternative we looked at, again, reduced traffic by about half, and we did that by reducing the footprint by about half. So we looked at what if we only develop half of this master plan area. And it has the same effect on traffic. So we've still just reduced it by half. So we've managed to avoid impacts with just plan development, but then with cumulative development, we're still going to see impacts. And again, it meets some of the objectives, but to a lesser degree. And it also doesn't meet the general plan requirement to master plan the entire area. It wants to have a full neighborhood. So I've gone through this process before, but just to give a little update on where we're at and what we've done. We did start back in 2013 when the master plan was just being developed, and we did our analyses for the environmental document, which we then drafted along with the draft plan and put it out for public review, about 45 days. Folks took a look at it, and some comments were submitted, and we had a meeting where people submitted verbal comments. We made some revisions, revisions were made to the plan, and we also responded to those comments in a document that's called a final EIR, and made a few minor revisions to the draft EIR based on those. And that's where we are now. We've finished those documents, and we're at city hearings and hoping for certification of the EIR and approval of the plan. I think that's the end of mine.
Rebecca, could I ask a question?
Sure.
If you extended that timeline, what would it show us? What would it show you as far as development? When might that occur?
Sure. So that's not really a question for me.
Okay. Well, I mean, but if we've met all the requirements.
So Mayor, I can answer that question. So at the conclusion of this process, and I'm talking the annexation process, let's just assume at this point in time that the council elects to move forward, certifies the EAR, approves the general plan amendment, the pre-zone, and we go to LAFCO. LAFCO blesses the document, and we go forward. If council took action in either December or January, roughly, we would probably be at LAFCO around May of 2018, at which time they would probably review it and probably get their blessing in May or June of 2018. Then we would go into and start talking to property owners, and there's still engineering and everything that goes up. So what I would tell you is we're building the water well and tank out there. That's under development. That'll be the first thing out to be built out there. But the rest of it, you're probably really not going to see a lot of activity out there till 2019 or 2020. It just takes time to engineer the projects, to finance. You know, we still have to do a financing plan. We still have to develop a phasing plan. We still have to negotiate development agreements. If someone told me right now that you'd see sticks going up there and commercial development occurring in 2020, I'd be elated. I think that would be a good schedule. So probably the earliest that we would really start seeing any kind of real development out there would be, mid 2019 or into 2020 would be the absolute earliest before we saw anything out there. And then after that, it's all going to be market driven. The reality is this master plan is probably setting the city of Newman up for about 15 to 20 years worth of growth. And that kind of concurs with what we did last time, because the city hasn't annexed any land in 18 years. So, you know, again, going back to 2007, the community said they wanted master planning to occur, and they wanted us to do a comprehensive approach towards development. That's what this master plan, we believe that that's what this master plan is doing, and setting the city up for the next 15 to 20 years worth of growth for a full build out. As we mentioned, there's about 1,350 homes roughly, depending on, you know, give or take, and whatever the market determines. But there's also potentially 2,000 jobs out there. That's a significant number for the city. Over 1.2 million square feet of non-residential or commercial business park type uses out there for that. And as we all know, the city of Newman needs jobs. So the fact that we're actually having more jobs created than housing, a jobs housing balance of greater than 1-to-1 is pretty significant for the west side. There is a lot of growth that is occurring on the west side, as you know, in Keystone and Patterson. Jim's not here, but he's going to tell you that they're getting close to releasing the EAR for Crow's Landing. So a lot of this is going to kind of work in conjunction together. Does that answer your question, Mayor?
Yes, excellent. Yeah, well, probably 2023 or something like that.
Yeah, you know, like I said, I think 2020, the well and tank you're going to see a lot earlier. That we're hoping to get that bid out next year and probably start seeing some ground broken in 2018 for the well and putting in the water lines and tying that into the city in the 1 million gallon storage tank. But, you know, extending sewer and storm drainage and some of those other things, that's pretty big undertaking, pretty big dollars, so we're going to have to find somebody to partner with to do that. So,
Thank you, Michael.
I have a few questions, Mike. And it has to do with the planning commission. Is there 5 people on the commission?
there is, the planning commission consists of 5 members, yes.
Okay. And my question on that is that there was only 3 votes that was taken, although they voted against the study. Will they have the opportunity to come back with the 5 and make a sound decision in terms of how they feel in reference to the plan?
Okay, so in October, this item was submitted to the planning commission. Unfortunately, 2 of the 5 members were not able to attend that meeting. One had to work and the other was at a funeral. So that left the 3 remaining. There was a motion and a second made in favor of certifying, recommending positively to the city council, and it was approved 2-1. Unfortunately, it did, because it was a resolution. In order for the resolution to pass, you need a majority of the full. So you would have needed 3-0 to pass. So therefore, at a 2-1 vote, it did not receive a positive recommendation moving forward. So therefore, the resolution did not get approved. However, the planning commission is only an advisory committee to the city council anyways. Ultimately, the city council makes a decision. So, in speaking with our legal counsel, they basically said because they're an advisory committee, it went through them. You basically tell the story. What I've just done for you is they've reviewed it on a 2-1 vote. They recommended certifying it, although that doesn't carry weight because there wasn't a 3-0. So it now comes to you without a recommendation from the planning commission. We do not anticipate that the item's going backwards to the planning commission again.
I guess the only reason, the only reason why I brought that up is that me personally, I want to know that we have a planning commission that is basically working, that it is, the process that they have is basically working for the city itself. And
No,
that whatever
the process worked. I mean, it was a public hearing. The public got to speak their mind. They got to voice their concerns, and either was some spoke in favor, some voiced their concerns with some of the impacts that might be associated with it. And then ultimately, the planning commission voted. That's what the process is all about. But again, as an advisory committee, they're only making a recommendation to you. They're not making any final decision.
And one last thing is that I'm really glad that we are talking in terms of creating jobs. I think that is essential in terms of our master plan here in the city of Newman. As we grow, we want to make sure that economically we're growing, and therefore, if we're creating jobs, we're going to see economic growth in the city of Newman.
Yeah, Councilman McDonald, that was one of the reasons back when the council originally elected to move forward with Master Plan 3, Area 3, is because it had the job-generating land uses in there. It had the business park. It had the community commercial. They recognized that the community did not have a big plot of land to currently do that in, so that's why they elected to move forward with Master Plan Area 3.
Thank you. That's
Okay, no further questions. This is a public hearing, so I will open it up to public for any comments. If you would please go to the podium, state your name.
I talk loud enough, I don't need a microphone.
Well,
For
the record, sir.
I didn't make the first meetings that you guys had on that master plan stuff, but
Could you state your name?
Joseph Silva, I live on 331 Jensen Road.
Thank you.
I'm all in favor of you guys going out there. I like your plan. I got two questions. She was talking about traffic impact. Have any of you been down Jensen Road at 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning?
Of course.
Or at 3 o'clock in the afternoon?
Yes.
I live out there. I want to get out of town. I have one hell of a time getting out of town because that's a one-lane road. If in the morning they're all coming to the school, at night they're all leaving the school. And then also I was noticing on your plan you had Harding Road looked like in a circle. Harding Road used to be open all the way to Jensen Road. There is property there that is roadway going all the way to Jensen Road, because when they developed that hole in the ground over there by the school, I was talking to the surveyors, and the reason why the road sort of got closed, it was an irrigation ditch, and they had an old bridge. The bridge collapsed, so they abandoned that section of the road. Because I've lived here for about 50 years now, so I'm pretty familiar with that area. I was just curious how come you had it looping around and not just running straight to Jensen Road. And like I said, I'm all in favor of you guys going out there, but I'd sure love to see you guys do something with that road, because I don't know how many times I've almost gotten a wreck.
Looking at the main maps, Jensen Road will probably be one of the main thoroughfares going into the new complex.
Right, but the one I'm talking about is Harding Road going from the school. Well, right now you're showing a line all the way. The old city plans did show that going all the way through.
Yeah.
But you got it looping around. I was just wondering how come you just didn't open it all the way through. But makes me no difference. But, you know, I was just asking, because the land was there. Like the surveyor said, that was no man's land. It didn't belong to anybody. It belonged to, for roadway.
Right.
So, Mr. Silva makes some valid points about Jensen Road. So currently, Jensen Road is not in the city, so therefore the city has no powers to do any improvements if the annexation.
And the county don't want to do nothing with it either.
So by moving this project forward, there's an opportunity to go ahead and open that up and to allow that traffic to flow freely.
That's why I'm all for you guys going out there. I really like it. Most of the property belongs to one man out there anyhow.
Yeah. And then the second question was, why didn't Hardin Road go all the way out? Hardin Road will, in all likelihood, go straight out and then be a right turn out anyways. But our traffic engineer indicated because of Fig Lane and its proximity, it doesn't make sense to have a full access point there. So that's why it was moved further.
That just gives more properties for Tony Reese.
Yeah, it just moved it more westward. Okay. That would allow that
that's no problem. I was just
to feed in there better.
Because she was talking about the traffic impact, and it looked like she was showing Orst Timber Road, where all the traffic goes, and you're going down 33 Highway, and you had a circle there on Jensen Road. But that road is horrible. I've had so many close calls of having wrecks down there. He knows, you ask Dean, that is a horrible road.
Yeah.
People don't stop at that stop sign. They just, when they're coming to Fig Lane, they just okay, we're going, we're turning, and they'll turn right in front of you. So that was my only comment. That's the reason why I came. I was anxious when you guys were going to say, we're going to move out there and get that fixed. Thank you.
Well, we'd like to thank you for coming forward. This is what it's all about, for people to ask us these questions and get answers. And so,
Well, like I said,
please never
I'm
hesitate.
really in favor of you guys moving out there.
Yeah,
It'd really
we
help the
appreciate
area
the
out.
question.
And as far as flooding, where I live, every flood we've had, I've never got wet. That's sort of high ground right there, except for when the canal broke and then had no choice, was up above us.
Right.
But otherwise, that's fairly high ground over in that area. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else from the public?
Sherry Marsigli, 820 North Avenue in Gustine. I own the property at 27807 Highway 33 here in Newman. I came to the October meeting and asked Mr. Holland what was going on with the CCID water, because when you annex that land, the water, cost of water to farm is going to go up considerably. I don't think it's just doubled. They'll also be considered Tier 2, which means that they will only get water if water is available or it has been turned down. So 100% allocation has to go to Tier 1 before Tier 2 people can even get water. And you would think that the Right to Farm Act, or the Right to Farm rules that the state has, that you would allow, if that's only going to be it's going to be 15 to 20 years to build out, that you would allow those people to continue to farm until it was built out. And I would venture to guess that this master plan was built when people were building in leaps and bounds in these communities. And I would recommend that you would cut that area in half. Just because there's no way that somebody can farm for the next 20 years on a Tier 2 CCID. And CCID is not going to change that rule.
So I after having the planning commission meeting, I went down and sat with Mr. Chris White. CCID has modified some of their policies with respect to annexations, and she's correct. And we're going to invite Sherry and her brother and the rest of the owners to come in. We're going to sit down with them and kind of go over this a little bit more in detail. But there is a policy where CCID will continue, like she said, to give them Class 2 water. Mr. White indicated to me, even during the most deepest drought years, all Class 2 farmers got water from CCID. She's right, the cost does go up from $14 an acre foot to $40 an acre foot for the water that they would be getting out there. But there are options for her to continue to get forward. And we also have some options that we would like to discuss with her. We're not going to talk about in tonight's meeting, but we'd like to have a private meeting with her and talk about how we see her continuing the ability to continue to farm and get an adequate and standard supply of water each year until she elects to develop. So that's why we haven't ironed out all those issues. That's why you're not asked for action tonight, so that we can continue to sit down with property owners and talk about some of these issues.
I know in Merced County at the LAFCO level, CCID absolutely refused to change their policy. So you may want to see what CCID is going to do before you put that huge chunk of land in, because that's not just that's not a community, that's another town compared to the size of Newman. That's it for now.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oh, well, it's at 722 Mount Rushmore. And I was actually able to sit on the general plan committee that started this process and came up with the idea that we would have these master areas, and the concerns that Mr. Silva raised are really exactly a lot of what we came up with. We would have somebody come in and say, well, I got 30 acres, I'm going to put some houses on it. And it would be a question of, well, how big of a sewer line? Well, I just need a little one because I got 30 acres or 60 acres. This way we get a real sewer line, we get real streets. We don't have a Jensen Road serving a bunch of new stuff. So I'm really excited to see one of these come together. Thought it was a little odd that the city would bring one themselves, but the idea of getting these jobs into town makes sense why the city would want to see this one develop first or next. And hopefully, we continue to see this town grow, and we see the tournament as the next ones come about, as developers come to us offering better and better amenities as they want to open up some of these other sections. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
Mayor and council members, Dave Romano on behalf of Pinehurst Properties. This process actually, before the general plan, probably about 2003, 2004, when you hired that general plan consultant. And on behalf of Pinehurst Properties, we participated. We saw Mr. Wallace at all the meetings. We met at the junior high, and the city really put their stamp on the general plan and the future growth of the community. And this plan implements it. And we very much appreciate your staff's hard work. They've done a great job over the last few years putting this together and getting it ready for you. I do want to commend Mr. Hague and Rebecca. I've worked with both of them in the past. They are ultimate professionals. They know how to plan communities, how to prepare these documents, and to do them for you in a way that's adequate and appropriate, and make sure that the community will develop the way that it's planned, and environmental impacts will be mitigated the way that they're supposed to. They're very competent and very qualified, and we're very happy that the city selected them to work on this process. So with that said, we have similar concerns to Ms. Marsigli. We mentioned those at the Planning Commission. We've appreciated the conversation with Mr. Holland. We think there are solutions to these. These are not issues that are out of the realm of being solved, and are very common. In fact, Merced County always deals with CCID annexation and detachment issues. And here in Stanislaus County, we have those issues in other irrigation districts. We always work our way through them, but it's important that as you plan a community, you bring in a piece of land that the development community knows is of substantial size to result in their ability to make a commitment to the community. Because sewer will have to be brought across Highway 33. That's a big expense. Roads will have to be widened with development. A large storm drain basin may have to be put in up front, and you'll need to know that there's adequate land and adequate area to kind of recoup those upfront expenses. We've been fortunate that the city's made a commitment to this area, that the city's made a commitment to the well out there, but there will also be substantial commitments to the development community to kind of get it going and to prime the pump. And then, Mayor, you asked a great question, a question we always get asked that we don't know the answer to, and how long is it going to take and when it's going to start. But your city manager did a good job. And once we get it annexed, there's still a year or two's worth of work, just planning it and understanding the costs and what needs to be done up front, and what pieces does the city need so that improvements match growth, yet it's logical and it's orderly and it's not too fast. Because that can be troublesome to cities, but it has to be fast enough to kind of recover those expenses. So we're watching that. We're very appreciative of the opportunity to be here and of all the help that we've gotten, and we look forward to our continued relationship. It's been about 15 years that we've been involved in all those meetings, and we look for another 15. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Anyone else like to speak to the council tonight? If not, you're going to have a chance next time, because we're going to keep this open so everyone can make comments at our next meeting. So we're not going to close the public hearing at this time. It will be held open till, was it December 12th for the next meeting. With that,
I think, I'm going to ask legal counsel, but I think we need a motion and a
motion,
second to
exactly.
keep it open until December 12th.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so I need a motion.
I move that the public hearing for the Northwest Newman Master Plan and accompanying EIR remain scheduled for December 12th.
Second motion.
Okay, motion been made and second. All in favor, then, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 5-0. With that,
Can I make a comment
sir?
before we move on this? I attended the meeting in October of the Planning Commission, and there were a number of people there that offered comments, including this lovely young lady. However, I don't see any of them tonight, and so I'm a little concerned that members of the public may not be. I know we had it posted in the newspaper that we would have a public hearing and so forth, but we need to,
Notices were mailed out again for tonight as well.
Oh,
To all
very
the
good.
same property owners with adjacent to the property and within the project area.
okay, and will they be notified of the December 12th meeting?
We can if the council wants.
Yeah, if council, so we continued and left it open so that the notice is not necessarily required again. If you would like, we could send them out. This is one of the reasons why we're not asking you for action tonight. We want to make sure that we've had, public hearing, a couple public meetings, but we want to make sure that the public has an opportunity to share their comments and concerns with you. So this is not trying to get rushed through. So if you'd like, we can mail out those notices to property owners again and let them know that the public hearing has been continued to December 12th. That would not be it.
I'd like to see you do that.
Okay, we will do that as staff.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody's happy? We'll move on to item 11. We're going to go on to item 12. Items from the city manager and staff. I'm
Excuse
sorry.
me. Gentlemen, you two young men, are you from the high school? And you're here as part of a class that you're taking? Well, we're so glad that you guys are here. Thank you so much for coming. Didn't mean to embarrass you, but I've been watching you all evening, and you've been taking notes like crazy, and that's great. We appreciate the participation of the teachers from the high school and the students from the high school. We want you to know that you're welcome anytime to our council meetings, and good luck with your report.
And
All right.
and before you go, let me just say, so what's your name? Victor and Christine, and you're Orstemba?
Yeah.
Actually, the reason why I was just going to wait until the time comes up to where each one of the council persons have the opportunity of saying something. I was going to address you guys, but I just want to let you guys know that we talked about our students, at Orstemba in terms of you guys participating in the process. It's essential that not just your parents, but yourself, you're growing up here, you need to know basically what's taking place here. So I'm really proud of you two, not just because you got to put the time in, but that you guys have come out and heard the process. And don't make this the last time, even if you have to let people know, that, hey, they're doing something down there and there's going to be some changes made. We need to know about it because you're growing up here. And even to the point of telling your parents, because they're paying taxes here, hey, mom, dad, they're doing something down there that you guys need to know about. So I'm proud of you two, and please don't make it the last time you guys come. God bless you, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, thank you for coming. If you stay a little bit longer, you might get a cooking.
Not a Bob to help with.
I'm sorry.
Mayor.
But I wanted to catch him before we left.
That's good. That is good that the young people from the school do come forward. And we got to commend the teachers that send them here. And we just have to have more of that so they get involved. Rather than wait till they get adults and they don't know what's going on. Anyway, with that, we'll move on to item 12 and items from the city manager and staff.
Thank you, Mayor. As member of the council, it's with great honor I'd like to introduce to you tonight to Ms. Catherine Reyes. She's our new Public Works Director. She comes from our neighbor to the south, where she served as a director over there for 5 years. Before that, she was with the city of Livingston. She has great experience in the public works field. She can actually literally get into the ditches and do the work if need be. She's happy she's not having to do that anymore, but if need be, she can. So we're excited to have her on board. She's getting up to speed, reading a lot of the documents and some of the other things. We started including her in our meetings with our designer for the well and the tank, and she brings a lot of water experience to that phase of it, so she's already offered up some good comments to them, so we're excited to have her on board.
Welcome.
Thank you.
With that being said, we did have a meeting this week, and the well and the 1 million gallon storage tank, and it's going to be located on the Jensen Road extension, east of Fig and Hardin Road out that way. We're at our 50% plan level. So they're telling us right now they should be complete with plans, be in that 95% range about the end of January. So we're moving forward with that particular project. They've also identified a potential $400,000 grant that they think we may be qualified for to help us start drilling the well itself. So we'll continue to keep you updated on that, but that's good progress. Also, we're currently scheduled, I believe, for February to go to the regional board to expand our wastewater treatment permit. That would allow us to expand our wastewater treatment plant. We've negotiated with the board for only 12 years to get this done, and it's seeming like, I know there's a light at the end of the tunnel. I'm just praying it's not a train. And so, again, February, I think, we're going to be there. If we get this permit as it's currently been negotiated, it will allow us to expand our treatment plant that would encompass all of the primary sphere of influence. So I think that's a good win for the city, and it's good planning for us on our long term. So probably about 25 plus years of growth that we could occur. We did have a 2+2 meeting today. It was with Councilmember McDonald and Councilmember Graham. At that meeting, I invited Superintendent Philpott to come in either December or January. They're rolling out a new product. It's an app for smartphones that's going to help persons 0 to 6. It's a learning process.
Literacy.
Yeah, they call it the 30 million word kind of thing, that there's a difference between children who, where the parents are very active with them as they start to grow up versus the ones who the parents are less active with them. There's about a 30 million word difference between the two as they enter school. So this is to help cut down on that and start getting early learning involved in that. And the earlier you can start teaching kids, the more chance for success they have when they enter the school system. So he was talking about it, gave us a little presentation today. I thought it was great. I thought it was something that we could probably roll out to the whole community, not just the school district. This is really a community-wide thing. So I invited him to either December or January to come speak about it, and then they're going to have a rollout party in January for the whole app itself. So I know the school district got a $5 million grant over 5 years to help start implementing this, so they're very excited about it. Let's see. We do have this is our only November meeting, so just a reminder, December 2nd will be the Christmas tree lighting ceremony. We're going to put a big star right on top of Bob's new tree. No. It's going to be a good event. Catherine's already figured out how to decorate the tree.
Well, I've been watching that tree very closely.
Yeah, I told her that. I told her after Measure L, the Christmas tree is the next most important thing. So with that, I just want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. So that's all I had for today.
Evening, Mayor, council members. 'Tis the season, so we're not going to have another meeting before some of our things that we're doing at the police department are coming into effect. Right now, in the month of November, we rolled out our tickets for tots. We've done it for the past 5 years. For those citizens that are fortunate enough to get one of these citations, it's basically a warning citation with the encouragement to bring in a gift for Toys for Tots, and then we donate all those toys for the Toys for Tots program because there's needy families out there, and it helps this time of year. Also, with that, we went one step further. Staff, we designed a patch because there are several patch collectors out there. So we designed a holiday patch specifically for the Newman Police Department. I should receive it early next week, and it'll be for sale, and all proceeds will also be donated to Toys for Tots. And then on December 8th, Corporal Williams, who you saw tonight, will be leading the Shop with the Cop program. She gets $1,000 donated every year from Walmart, and we take 2 children. They're selected by community members and teachers and things like that. They're donated, then they're selected, 2 of them, we take them, and they each get $500 to shop for family and things like that for the holiday season. So that's kind of what we're doing for the holidays. I know we don't have the big red fire truck that everybody gets to ride on, so we have to come up with other ways because nobody wants to ride in a police car ever. So, I'll happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions tonight? That was exciting.
Okay.
That was really neat. Williams, she's a sweetheart. I mean, she puts a lot into it.
She does.
Yeah. You got to be proud of her.
I am very proud of her.
Thank you very much. Stephanie?
Good evening. We have a planning commission this Thursday. We have 2 items on the agenda, a site plan review for a new fast food restaurant on Highway 33 and a conditional use permit for a bar on Main Street. It's the former Tank Bar, so it's the same owners, they would be reopening. So that's what they're doing there. Also, not planning related, but the Newman Tots Tree Auction is Thursday, November 30th. So it's a good cause if you could make it out there to, bid on a tree. I'm sure they will appreciate it. And I'm happy to answer any questions the council may have.
Question? Lou?
I didn't have anything tonight, but if you have any questions, anything, I'll be happy to answer for you.
Okay. Catherine? Anyway.
I just
welcome
want,
aboard.
thank you so much, and I just wanted to say that I really appreciate the opportunity to be able to work with everyone here in Newman, and I look forward to accomplishing great things. So thank you very much, and I'll have a better report next month.
Chief, you have anything tonight?
Good evening. We will be at the tree lighting, so come out and take a ride on the fire truck like everyone does every year. And then as the holidays approach, just be careful with candles, turkeys, and all that fun stuff. That tend to get swinging incidents there, so just be safe while you're out there. And then also tomorrow, Westside Community Ambulance is going to be having a special meeting reviewing a management contract with SEMSA and AMR at 1800 hours at 6 p.m. at their administration building on Tulare. So if you guys are interested in attending, I think I've sent out communications about it before, so I can do it again tomorrow morning. And can answer any questions you might have.
Any question? I have one, CPR class. How many did you certify?
So we have CPR this Saturday coming up, November 18th. The class is full currently. Because I only have one instructor, me, we can certify 9 people at a time. I think our last class had 7? Yeah, 7.
Very
So,
good.
yeah.
Good job.
And then we'll have one more in December, which the waiting list is, I think, at 8. So, yeah, we stay busy.
Good. And it's free.
Yeah. We accept donations, but yeah, we don't force it.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Casey, anything to add?
I'd like to thank everybody for the presentations, and hopefully we can work out something with Sherry and the other ranchers out there to get them water, because I'd like to see this project go forward for growth in our community. So, and then thank you for Newman Groves Landing School District. Our 2-on-2 meeting was great today. Had a good time.
Thank you, Casey.
Well, happy Thanksgiving.
I just want to piggyback, and it's very important that we take care of the farmers and here in the valley. You do feed us, and we need you. So my prayers go up to you, is that we treat you well and take care of you. And I just want to take this time to my colleague here to give him all the props and thank you for being a service person who served in our service, and he's a hero to me. You know, he may not want to be it, but I want to thank you, Casey, for your service.
Thank you.
That's all to you.
Thank you, Nick?
Welcome aboard, Catherine.
Thank you.
Welcome to Newman, and I'm glad you don't mind getting your hands dirty, because my neighbors are already on me about the Sherman Parkway dang ditch, so. Please keep it clean.
Just happy holidays to everyone. With Thanksgiving coming up, if you're traveling, be careful, be safe. If you didn't get a chance to read the wonderful article in the paper on Casey, please take the opportunity to do that, as well as the other veterans that have been recognized by the West Side. We really appreciate your service. And so, Dean, thank the paper for us. We really appreciate your efforts in that area.
With that, I'd like to thank everyone for coming out tonight to these public hearings and offering their comments. It's really important. This project is a big project, and I have to thank Michael and his whole staff, and there's a lot of people that have been involved in this over the years. You know, Paul says he's been part of it, you know, so everybody, there's a lot of people that have touched this project. So I feel that it's our lifeline to the future. And I know that people are going to be concerned about the homes and stuff like that, and environmentally and things like that. But my feelings are, this town does not grow or does not become a city that you want to know if we completely die and we don't offer an opportunity to build new homes and lightweight manufacturing, that sort of thing. So I'm excited about it. Anyway, thank you everyone for coming out tonight. And with that, I'd like to ask for adjournment.
So moved.
Second. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.
So you-